In 1976, I had the pleasure of touring part of Europe with our next special guest. Please welcome Guy Hovis.
Hey, Mary Lou.
Hi, Guy. Those were the days.
Those were the, didn't we have a ball?
We did. How did you ever start singing?
Oh, goodness. I've been singing for as long as I can remember. I'm one of those who started singing in church when I was about 5 years old, I think, when I sang my first solo in church. And I sang all through school, you know, musicals. My friends in college just convinced me that I needed to try singing before I, you know, lived a life behind a desk with a pencil to see, you know, maybe, you know, they said you'll always look back and wonder if you could have done it, if you could have made it as a singer. So that's the reason I ever even ventured off to California to get into show business.
So what brought you to California?
Well, my 1963 Catalina Pontiac. I just packed that thing on me. I didn't know a soul. What I did, I knew one soul in California, and he was a friend of mine who I'd gone to college with. His name was Tom Lester, and he played Ebb on Green Acres. And I had talked to him. You know, I said, you know, I think I'm going to try this for the summer before I come back to Mississippi and go to work. And so he told me to go to this little nightclub in Santa Monica called The Horn, where young people could get up on stage and learn how to perform and kind of showcase their talent. And so I did. I drove out to California, went down to The Horn in Santa Monica, and met the owners, Rick and Margaret Riccardi, who were really, I mean, they kept me alive. They let me check IDs at the front door and paint and do a little work around the place. And then late at night, when everybody was finished, the regular performers, when they had finished performing, they'd let me get up on stage, and I kind of learned how to perform and learned a little bit about show business. I mean, I knew nothing, so it was a wonderful, wonderful little place for me to learn about the business and to watch seasoned performers work. And
well, you became part of a duo, Guy and David, right?
David and I got together after I'd been in California for about a year, because I worked there at the Horn for about 6 or 7 months, and through my working there at the Horn, I had gotten some shots on Art Linkletter's House Party show on CBS. It was a wonderful experience, but I found out that through that experience that nobody in show business watched daytime television in those days. So I got nothing out of that. I didn't get a record contract. I didn't get a job or anything. And David had been kind of knocking around himself, trying to get a record contract and get something going. We both finally figured that, you know, there's too many single male singers out here. That was the time of Tom Jones, Engelbert Humperdinck, all these guys. So we decided we'd team up, so, you know, try it as a duo. So we became Guy and David, and we were an instant hit. It was like we got a record contract with ABC. We got us a manager and an agent, and here we went. You know, for about 2 years, we had a great run. But it was a great experience, the Guy and David years.
Did you have aspirations to be on the Lawrence Welk Show before you actually joined?
Well, no, I didn't, actually. I didn't know about the Lawrence Welk Show. I was one of those, I mean, my grandparents watched Lawrence Welk, but I was never home on Saturday night, you know. So my first, actually the executive producer of the Lawrence Welk Show was married to a lady from Yazoo City, Mississippi. Jim Hobson was married to Elsie Holmes from Yazoo City, Mississippi. So when I first went to California, through some friends at a local television station in Jackson who knew Jim Hobson, they arranged for me to have an audition with Lawrence Welk. So when I first got out to California, I don't know, first 2 or 3 months I was out there, and when I was working at the Horn, I actually went down and auditioned for Lawrence's people, as they call it. I didn't audition for Mr. Welk, but I did an audition for them, and they apparently weren't real impressed because they never called me back.
How long before you actually did join the show?
Well, I went through that, the couple of years of Guy and David. During those years, during those 2 years, I met Ralna. Ralna and I got married. Ralna got on the Lawrence Welk show in May of 1969. And and then that Christmas, she talked Lawrence into letting me come sing a duet with her on the Christmas show. And, you know, the rest is kind of history. He got all this fan mail, and he'd never had a husband-wife team, and all those years he'd already been on the air, 15 years. And so he had me back one more time after that Christmas show to make sure that mail wasn't a fluke. And little did he know all that mail was from Mississippi.
Well, that led to some wonderful things for you. You were nominated for a Dove Award.
It did. Through those years, you know, of course, Ralna and I recorded. I learned through Randy Wood and some other people who helped me learn how to make a record. Sitting there in the studio with the engineers, and so the last, I think about 8 or so albums that Ralna and I did, I produced those and albums, and one of them, the How Great the Art album we did in Nashville, was nominated for a Dove Award. Kind of a thrill. We were nominated as artist, and I was nominated producer. So, yeah.
Trent Lott has played a big part in your life through the years.
Well, he has. We've been friends for ever since our freshman year in college. And, you know, I went to California, he went to Washington, and we both did fairly well in our jobs. And around the early 90s, I think it was actually 1990, I moved back to Mississippi, and he'd gotten elected to the Senate. He'd been in the House of Representatives for 16 years. He got elected to the Senate, and when I got back to Mississippi, he called me and he said, I've been trying to run my state offices out of Washington. He said, it's not working. He said, I need somebody on the ground down there to do that. So would you be interested in giving that a try? And I told him, I said, you know, I don't know anything about politics. I've been in show business for 20 years. He just looked at me and said, you'll do fine.
I don't mean to interrupt.
Well,
but can I join you guys?
How unlike you to interrupt.
Guy and Ralna together again.
How are you?
I'm just fine.
Good. Hi, Mary Lou.
Hello there.
So glad to be here.
Good to have you. Well, probably your greatest production together was your daughter, Julie.
I would say.
What's happening with her?
Well, she's 27. She has her master's in education.
Yeah.
She's
the
finally...
best thing is she's out of school and she got a job. No, we're so proud of her.
Oh, we are. She's teaching first grade this next year.
Yeah.
And it's a challenge. First grade's a challenge.
Public schools in Phoenix.
Public school in Phoenix. And
but she loves it.
Yeah,
you know,
she loves
really loves it.
So how about Guy and Ralna? What are you doing now?
Guy and Ralna,
oh, my goodness. We're working more, Mary Lou, than we have worked in 20 years or so, Guy, right?
We are. It's like...
just everywhere, all over the country.
We're kind of just bumfuzzled about this whole thing. You know, as I tell people when we go out, I said, we used to be, when we started in Lawrence Welk, you know, we used to be the kids that sang to the senior citizens. Now we are the senior citizens, and we're still out here on the road singing.
But I think we're having more fun right now than we ever have together. And it's just so great. And Sis gets to come along on occasion, and that's even more fun than anything.
Yeah.
So, well, we'll be looking for you.
Yeah.
Well, we're doing a lot of state fairs and
that's great.
Casinos and personal appearances across the country together.
Look for us in your hometown.
Who'd have thunk it? Who'd have thunk it?
Thanks so much for joining us. And thank you all for joining us. We're so glad to have you with us. And until next time, as Lawrence Welk always said, keep a song in your heart.